Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're cracking open a really fascinating design document.
Yeah, what have we got?
It's the blueprint for a game called Domain Game. And honestly, at first glance, it looks simple. It's about delivering bread.
Delivering bread, okay.
But as we sort of peel back the layers, you find out how this, seemingly mundane task becomes something, well, surprisingly unique, even epic.
Okay. So our mission is to figure out how they plan to pull that off.
Exactly. To find those little nuggets, those ideas that turn a basic concept into, hopefully, a really compelling experience for the player.
Right. It sounds like that classic iceberg thing in game design. Simple surface idea.
Right.
But potentially a whole lot of depth underneath. We should look at how they plan to layer things, the mechanics, the world details, all that.
Okay, so let's dive into that core challenge first. The main goal, like I said, deliver bread to your aunt.
Peaceful.
Deceptively so.
Okay.
The catch is you're navigating through slime monsters. Lots of them, apparently.
Slime monsters, okay, that changes things. And your weapon.
Not a sword, not a laser. It's a bubble gun.
A bubble gun. Seriously.
Yep, a bubble gun. You win if you get the bread there. You lose if the slimes, get you too much.
Okay, a bubble gun against slimes. So how does that combat work? Does it get more complex than just shooting bubbles?
It seems so.
Yeah.
The notes mention a proper fighting system for it and power-ups.
Ah, power-ups. What kind?
They're described as soap containers, little ones you pick up.
Soap containers. Okay, I'm intrigued. What do they do?
Well, there are 3 types mentioned. One lets you shoot these giant slow bubbles that hit hard.
Okay, like a heavy weapon.
Yeah. Another turns the bubble gun into like a minigun, rapid fire.
Right, high rate of fire. And the third?
The third one apparently freezes enemies for a bit.
Huh. So, damage, rate of fire, and crowd control. That gives you some actual strategic options, doesn't it, depending on the situation?
Exactly, and you'll need them because it gets harder.
How so?
The design calls for 3 waves of these slime monsters, and they get tougher as you get closer to the ant's house.
Ah, escalating difficulty. So that final stretch could be pretty intense.
Yeah, really testing if you've mastered those different bubble types.
Makes sense. But it's not just combat, right? Good games need more than that. What about the rest of the player experience?
Right, the notes definitely go beyond just shooting slimes. They talk about refining the feel of playing.
Like movement, controls.
Yeah, basic stuff like adding a sprint ability, but also visual feedback, like for the UI.
Oh, what about the UI?
They suggest the HP and stamina bars should do more than just go down. They should, get bigger, fully opaque, maybe change color when you take a hit or use stamina.
That's smart. Makes critical info really pop, You see it peripherally instead of having to constantly check numbers. Keeps you in the action.
Yeah, exactly. It feels more intuitive.
Okay, so good core mechanics, thoughtful UI. What about the world itself? You mentioned delivering bread to an ant. Is there more context?
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. The blueprint suggests building out the world significantly, adding a background story, for starters.
Okay, some narrative context.
Yeah, and environmental details, like colorful mountains for scenery. Specific things, too, like picture frames in a house with, I guess, grandparents' names.
Wow, okay. That adds a personal touch. Makes it feel more like a place.
Totally. And notes about improving lighting near a fire pit, fixing a water particle effect.
So, real attention to atmosphere and polish, even the small details.
It seems like it. That level of detail really makes a difference in immersion.
It absolutely does. Anything else hidden in there? Any surprises?
Oh, yeah. There's this idea for 5 collectible Easter eggs hidden around the map.
Easter eggs. Love those. What happens if you find them?
Get this. If you collect all 5, you get a sword.
A sword after using a bubble gun the whole time?
Yep. And not just that. As soon as you get the sword, a giant slime monster appears. A boss fight, basically.
Whoa! Okay, that completely changes the endgame. From delivering bread with bubbles to a secret boss fight with a sword, that's quite a twist.
Isn't it? So, looking at the whole thing, what does this tell us about game design?
Well, it shows how you can start with something really simple, almost quirky. Deliver bread, use a bubble gun, and layer things on top.
Combat upgrades, difficulty scaling.
Right. And then environmental storytelling, the UI feedback, and finally, this big hidden secret with the Easter eggs and the sword. It transforms the experience.
It really does. From a simple task to potentially a mini adventure with a surprise ending.
Exactly. It's a great example of how layering mechanics and adding unexpected narrative or gameplay twists can create something much richer and more memorable than the initial premise might suggest. It's about managing player expectation and then subverting it in a rewarding way.
So it makes you think, doesn't it? If you were designing a game that started with delivering bread, what kind of unexpected game-changing secret would you hide in there for players to find?